as he starts his side in what appears to be a 4-3-3 formation. Summer signing from Hull, Pandur starts in goal. A back four of Sterling, Fernandez, the new man who joined yesterday from AEK Athens, Penrith, and Mac Hanya make up the rear guard. Raskin, Danish midfielder Chukwani, who featured heavily for Danny Roll last season, and Dragicevic are the midfield trio, with Yokota, Gassam, and 6'4" German forward Naderi leading the line for the home side this afternoon. For McLeish, there is no temptation that he's had to buy into the idea that it's somehow a good time to visit Ibrox. His message this week was simple: there is never a good time to come to Rangers away. But his young, refreshed St Mirren side have earned the right to start to believe. The one guaranteed alteration is in midfield, but he has made 2 changes altogether with his side. We're starting with the man who kept a clean sheet in the last game, Chapman in goal. Cabia and Donnelly also coming into that 4-2-3-1 formation he sets up. The Australian in the net joining life after coming in the summer. 2 clean sheets, a penalty save last week, and some excellent results as well during this competition's group stages. Richardson, Donnelly, Gogic and John make up the back four. Carr and the lone signing from Arsenal, Cabia, sit just in front. Ramos, who enjoyed scoring in this competition with a number of goals, Phillips, Mockery sit just behind Sule up front. The referee is John Beaton, assisted by Colin Drummond and David Dunn, with Graham Granger the 4th official. Kevin Clancy is on VAR and Duncan Williams is his assistant in that room. There's a remarkable subplot as well to the game. The domestic suspension keeping McGuinness out of that technical area today came from comments he made last season about a controversial late penalty awarded by Beaton after a VAR intervention. Well, McGuinness was Hearts manager. Beaton was also the VAR when these sides met at Ibrox in December, and a review produced a St Mirren penalty, but one that Jack Butland did save. Plenty of history around the officials, plenty of pressure around the home side as well. Last season, it's the man that's currently now in charge of Leicester City, who had his back against the wall early on last season. Now it's McGuinness's turn. The pressure is on. It's Rangers against St Mirren. It's knockout football, and we are almost underway here. Rangers in their very, very familiar blue home strip, white shorts and black socks. St Mirren in their away kit as well. Sort of a gold shirt, black shorts and gold socks as well. St Mirren will be getting us underway, going from left to right. It's just gone 4 o'clock here in Scotland, and the Scottish Cup League One is underway as St Mirren go long, and it goes straight out for a goal kick away to our right hand side. And it is one of 2 competitions that takes place in Scotland on a yearly occasion. The regular cup that runs a little bit later into the season also saw Celtic in the final, winning that one against Dunfermline, but they were shocked in this competition when they had Wilfred Nancy as Rangers tried to get immediately in towards the box down the left hand side, but good defensive work from the keeper to get there ahead of new man Penrice, who was just breaking free down the left. He saw an opportunity. He joined yesterday from AEK Athens. He spent a year in Greece after moving across from Hearts. He's also spent a couple of seasons as well with his hometown side of Livingston. As Rangers win a free kick on halfway line, they'll need to get themselves, you feel, on the scoreboard early. The fans haven't really come out for this one. They've lost 6 of their last 9 competitive games. They haven't tasted victory since the last game of the final of the last game of the season last time around. That 5-2 win against Falkirk. It's played into the box from the right hand side, chested down though and cushioned away by Gogic. In towards John, who just sweeps it clear. Picked up though halfway inside the St Mirren half and quickly moved towards the left hand side. It's just about kept in by the lively Gassam. Got one to try and beat in Richardson, but stands up really well. Pulls it back 10-15 yards and asked Penrice to put the cross in instead. He's intercepted by the first man, and now St Mirren will try to come away with the ball, and being dragged down in the middle of the park is Phillips. He just got the better of Dragicevic on that occasion, and Phillips winning the free kick for his side inside his own half to just slow it down. And we know there are always goals in the games for Rangers. They've scored in their last 19 competitive games. They've conceded in their last 12 as well. Both teams to score has happened on quite a lot of occasions, but here come Rangers again down the right hand side, and they'll win the first corner kick. It just comes off a St Mirren man. There's Raskin again, just trying to put the cross into the box, but intercepted by the St Mirren defence. 2.5 minutes then played in this Cup game between Rangers and St Mirren here at Ibrox. I'll keep you up to date as well with the other scores. Stenhousemuir, I should say, and Motherwell are in extra time. They're 100 minutes into that game. 0-0 is the scoreline. Hearts beat Cali Thistle 6-2, and Hibs beat Partick Thistle by a goal to nil. The corner swung in towards the penalty spot, but it's intercepted ever so well and cleared out towards the halfway line, and Rangers having to retreat back to their goalkeeper of Ivor Pandur, who comes racing out of his goal and then just tries to send it in hope more than an expectation down the left hand side, looking for Gassama, but he couldn't quite get there, and Richardson will see it out. So 0-0 is the scoreline then here early on. Nothing to really shout about. Rangers, as you can expect, will try and just control possession, and St Mirren struggling to get out of their own half in the early exchanges and giving away on the edge of their own penalty area as well towards Nadiri, the 6'4" German, though just can't quite get it out of his feet, and St Mirren would come away with the ball, or they would have done. And Phillips had turned towards the right rather than towards the left, and he ran straight in towards traffic, but Rangers couldn't quite pick up the second ball. It's still with those in gold and black breaking their way inside the Rangers half for the first time in this game. Over on the far side of the pitch, now down in towards the left channel, pulled back into towards Sully, who tries to turn onto his right, beautifully onto his left, goes for goal, and it's a couple of yards wide of the left hand side, and we've seen that a few times this season already from St Mirren. They scored 4 goals in the opening 3 games of this competition in the group stage, and from one end to the other it was pulled into the box towards Sully, who just turned on a dime. He left McCanya for dead inside the box, on towards his left, just going for the far corner, and it just curled away from the frame of the goal. But a good sighter from St Mirren to just threaten and test that Rangers goal away to our right hand side. I'll keep you up to date as well with some of the other scores that are going on across the aisles as well. Arsenal beating Man City inside the first half in the friendly shield, as you could probably call it these days, but it is one that Arsenal won't call a friendly because it makes up the bulk of their trophy cabinet. But they lead by 2-0, and any trophy is a trophy. But this cup isn't done just yet either. The scores that came in this round: Kilmarnock beat Ayr by 3-2 on Friday night, turning it around very, very late on as Rangers again on the edge of the area and go for goal, and it's inches wide, and slamming the floor is Dragicevic. It was excellent play again from Nadiri. Good run from Gassama initially down the left hand side. He pulled it back in between the defence, getting there ahead of Gogic was Nadiri, who just laid it on a plate to Dragicevic on the edge of the area, and his first time strike almost finding the bottom right hand corner of St Mirren's goal. He's frustrated with himself, they didn't hit the target. McGuinness almost dancing around inside, or the backup I should say, his assistant dancing around inside the technical area on this near side. McGuinness still unable to be in this game. And Firmlin also lost at home to Ross County. Aberdeen beat Dundee yesterday, a comfortable 3-0 home win. Celtic with 4-0 win away at Dundee United, and Hibs with that result against Partick Thistle we've just mentioned as well today. The Celtic game, certainly some questionable decisions in that one, particularly in one of their goals where it was a clear handball that led to a very, very simple finish. They probably would have still gone on to win that game, but it certainly does show the questions that have been raised from Scottish fans, particularly in the end of last season, the Motherwell game, the Hearts game, where there seemed to be a little bit of favouritism going towards Celtic, who did go on to win the league and the cup double in the end, as Rangers break their way down the right and now have a corner kick over on the far side as it's swung in towards the near post, and it's allowed to bounce all the way through. The keeper just about comes out and gets it, Chapman. He wasn't the most confident there, and then it's put over the top of the bar from Rangers, but it was a corner that caused a little bit of trouble for St Mirren. It was played in towards the box. It was hacked higher than Bob Marley by Soulé, but he couldn't quite get it out of his penalty area. It invited a couple of Rangers players to try and challenge the goalkeeper, who just about got there with enough on it to send it towards the edge of the area, and then the final shot that came in from Fernandez, just going over the top of the bar. In the English second division, Watford beat Southampton by 2-1, and Burnley West Ham is currently 0-0, 9 minutes into that game as well. But I'll keep you up to date with all those scores that are going on, both north and south of the border, as football is back, and it's back with a bang over the last couple of games, but it's given away by St Mirren. Real opportunity for Gassama, takes it on to his left, in towards the area, and a superb save from Chapman to stand him up well. It's still inside the box, and then it does find its way in, and he couldn't do anything about the second one, as Nadiri just got a touch onto it. It's the perfect start for Rangers. They've been applying the pressure, and Rangers rouse Ibrox as a roar around Govan, and a release from the home crowd as Derek McGuinness may just be closing in on that first competitive win. It was a long ball in towards the Deary on the first instance. Richardson got himself in a muddle, tried to play it back towards Chapman in a goal. He set free Gassama, who got either side of Gogic, pulled it on to his left. Chapman stood him up ever so well to get the initial save, but it then just went high into the sky. Nobody was there except for Gassama once again to get a knockdown inside the 6-yard box, and it just bobbles off the thigh, or even off the hip, in fact, of Nadiri, and it goes into the net. And sometimes that is what you need when you need to get that first win of the season, is a little bit of luck, and that's what they got there, Rangers, and they lead at home in the cup by 1-0, and 20 games they've now scored in a row. It is being checked for a potential handball. The captain Raskin coming over to have a word with the referee. He's been involved in plenty of decisions previously involving these two sides. It didn't look like it came off a hand, and it has been given as a goal. Rangers lead by 1-0. And it's the start they would have been craving for in this game. They came out of the traps flying, but they've almost given the ball away inside the box at their own area as well. Superb defending on the first instance. Still with St Mirren, though, pulled back and out for a corner kick. As good defending and good work from Chukwani to get behind. It was Fernandez who got himself in a real muddle. Lazy defending. Almost had his pocket picked by Ramos. It fell kindly on the far side in towards new lone man Cabia, who then couldn't quite get it past the recovery challenge of Chukwani. But St Mirren have a corner kick, and it was almost an absolute gift as Arsenal lead by 3-0 against Manchester City now at the start of the second half in the Shield south of the border, and West Ham beating Burnley by 1-0. Two sides favourite to go back to the top flight of English football. And it's Odegaard, Havertz and Calafiori, the three with the goals for the side that caused a lot of problems down south from set pieces, but causing a lot of trouble down this left-hand side is Gassama. And Chukwani, and it's Chukwani this time who's just trying to break free after the pass from Gassama. He got the better of Fraser. Fraser's taken him out, and 15 yards off the left-hand side of the penalty area. Rangers have a free kick, and Fraser goes into the referee's book for measure as well. And Marcus Fraser, who wasn't on the team sheet before the start of this game, has found himself in the referee's book inside the opening 12 minutes. The ball swung towards the penalty spot once again from Rangers. Headed out, though, confidently by the St Mirren defence, and then the follow-up that came in from Gassama goes well wide of the far post. As Fraser starts at centre-half ahead of Donnelly. So Donnelly was the new man initially on the team sheet, the Northern Irish international. But the 30-year-old has dropped out of the squad altogether, which does mean there was an alteration on the bench as well, with Calvin coming in to take that final spot, the striker. And a change just before the start of the game, with Fraser back in to the lineup. He was dropped after the last game, but again, here comes St Mirren down the left-hand side, played in towards Sully. Can't quite get it out of his feet, but he's come back out towards Gogic, halfway inside the Rangers half. Moving it across towards the left-hand side, 6 yards off the far left corner of the penalty area. Brought back nicely into the middle, in towards Carr. Continues his run down the left-hand channel, trying to get there ahead of Sterling in that right-back role. There is no James Tavernier anymore for Rangers. After his years and years of service, he has found himself departing the club, the long-serving captain, with Shanklin inheriting the armband more regularly for Rangers. On this occasion, it is Raskin who will be the man who can get into the officials' ear of beaten in the middle of the park. St Mirren looking a bit more lively. They seem to have woken up since Rangers have scored. Push down towards the right-hand side again for a potential cross from Richardson. Can't quite get it through that corridor of uncertainty once more, and Rangers clear the line. A poor pass, though, allows Chukwani to pick up the ball. Now it's with Gassama racing down the left. He's got one to try and beat in. Gogic pulls it back onto his right, goes for goal with a curling effort. Goes a couple of yards wide of left-hand post. He just didn't quite make the connection he would have hoped for. But poor from St Mirren inside the Rangers half, giving the ball away. Gassama found himself in acres of space, breaking at the Rangers box. And as he brought it back in towards the centre to open up the angle onto that right boot of his, he's an explosive wide forward, the Mauritanian. He's developed both in England and in France. And the man who started life as a left wing back, and he even played there on Thursday for Rangers after they changed their shape, playing more of an attacking role on this occasion. But sloppy from Rangers in the middle of the park. It's picked up by Mockery in the centre circle now with Carr trying to turn, but just turns into a little bit of danger and sees the giants of Nadiri and has to go back towards Gogic. And Fraser away to our left-hand side, pushed again towards the left, but it's played in straight into the back towards Sterling. It was about 5 yards or so too short in the pass, and Rangers able to come away with the ball. Moving across towards the left-hand side, in towards Penrice again, but his attempt to try and play it forward wasn't a fruitful one, and the throw-in goes St Mirren's way. There's been plenty of other changes as well that Rangers have made under McGuinness this summer. In particular, Lawrence Shanklin coming with him from Hearts. He is a boyhood Rangers supporter, uniting with McGuinness and Devlin here at Rangers. He's also had a loan spell at St Mirren, the man who is on the bench. Ross McCurry's come in from Bristol City. He did once play in the Rangers Academy. Now he's back with the side. More permanently as well, Ben Godfrey's on loan from Atlanta. Pandora in the goal, Dan Neil from Sunderland. Devlin as well, coming in from Hearts, the one we mentioned moments ago. Dragojevic from Partizan, the 20-year-old Serbian midfielder. Mekanja coming in from America, the South African centre-back, signed from Philadelphia Union. And Yakatar, who's starting as well in this game, but I don't think has seen much the ball inside the opening 17 minutes as Gassama's taken out once again. He's been ever so lively. On this occasion it was Carr who just stepped across 15 yards or so of the left-hand side. Well, level with the left-hand side of the penalty area for Rangers. Another opportunity to try and put some pressure on Chapman in the goal. They have lost the likes of Tavernier, Butland, Antman as well. As the ball swung in towards the far side. Headed out nicely, though, by Fraser. A return goes back in, and what a goal! That is from Rangers. A strike from distance, and Dragojevic with an absolute beauty from the distance. It's a stunner of a strike, and it's one that Rangers will have enjoyed seeing. It came out of nowhere, an absolute thunderbolt of a goal. It's Rangers 2, St Mirren 0. It was a ball from Penrice, cleared back out, knocked down, a chest and volley, and there's nothing that Chapman could do. 25 yards out. Yokota's first touch of the game is to get an assist as he just got something on it ahead of Mokri, and Dragojevic said, let me do the rest. A chest, a touch and a bang, and Rangers have started this game on fire. It's Rangers 2, St Mirren 0, and the fans here cannot believe that strike. The smiles on the faces of the dugout, the smiles on the fans as well. There were hands on heads watching that absolute beauty of a strike, and what a strike that was from Dragojevic. The new man, the big money summer recruit from Partizan. He's a physical midfielder. He's already had a few games coming off the bench in Europe, but he's showing his real quality here. Yokota on the ball on the right-hand side. Rangers trying to add a third already inside this first half. Runs into a little bit of traffic, turns back onto his left and trying to play it in towards the 6-yard box. Picked out nicely by the keeper, who spreads it quickly in towards Sully. He's got two ahead of him, takes it forward, and it's going to draw a free kick and a booking as well for Fernandez. He's not had the best of starts, the centre-half. He almost gave a huge opportunity away straight after Rangers scored the first, and he's almost given one away as well. Straight after they scored a second again, but this time he's done what he needed to do. He fouled his man to stop him being one-on-one with the final centre-half. It was on the edge of the Rangers box, but it's an opportunity for St Mirren to put the ball into the penalty area from the right-hand side. Swung in towards the box, and the header was there, but it's over the top of the bar. It wasn't the most confident of headers that came in the end from the St Mirren captain. But it was a delightful ball in from this near side, played on a button. Rangers defenders coming across, but it just wasn't to be on that occasion for the away side. They're dressed in gold, and that was almost a golden opportunity for them to find a way back in. "21 minutes gone inside this first half." You're listening to an unofficial off-tube commentary here of the cup game between Rangers and St Mirren. Rangers dominating and then sending it again down towards the left-hand side towards Gustama, and stepping across was Fraser once again, who just plays it out for a corner kick on this occasion. As Stenhousemuir have scored against Motherwell with 6 minutes to play of stoppage time, which is a reminder if St Mirren do pull this game back, And it is a draw at the end of 90 minutes. It does go to extra time and then penalties if need be. Penrice with the corner swung in. It's pulled back down, and how's that not found its way in? It was 2 attempts for Rangers inside the box. Penrice with the ball in. It fell kindly towards Fernandez, who just seemed to know absolutely nothing about it. Came across towards the far side of the box, and I think it was Nadiri, who then just tried to send it back across where it came from. And it was cleared off the line from St Mirren, and then it just couldn't be bundled home with Fernandez once again stood in front of it. Rangers should have had a third. They're controlling this game, and they're enjoying themselves as well. The side that finished third in the top flight last season, they reached the semi-final of this competition and the quarter-final of the Cup last time around. And oh, what an absolute shot from the edge of the area. And again, there's questions about whether it went over the line from Gassama. It came off the bar. Gassama lined it up from 10 yards outside the penalty area, moved it on to his right, and he just curled it off the underside, off the crossbar. It bounced off the line. The follow-up couldn't be put in again, though, from Rangers. But what an attempt that was from Gassama. It was a poor pass in towards the middle, looking towards Fernandez. Gassama picked it up instead. And he beat Chapman all ends up off the underside of the bar. And then Chapman just about managed to get back onto his feet to get there ahead of the on-Russian Nadiri. And it didn't go over the line. It just about stayed on the line. You could just see it on the replay coming off that white. But what an attempt that was from Gassama to almost add a third. Dragicevic scoring a beauty moments ago. Gassama saying, I can do that as well. But he was thwarted by the bar. As we have a brief stoppage in players. A bit of treatment. Just coming over for Chapman on this near side. And the Nadiri moments before should have put it in. So should Fernandez. Then Gassama rattling the bar. It could have been a cricket score inside this first half for Rangers. The Rangers man back to his feet. Chapman and Nadiri both need a little bit of treatment. Nadiri was the last man to get back to his feet, and he is okay, but he'll have to go off now for 60 seconds before being allowed to come back onto the field of play. Rangers, who need to have a good start to the season to keep up with those at the top of the table, mainly Celtic. You would have thought their late season challenges started to unravel. Danny Roll then left for RB Salzburg in June. He went out in this competition to Celtic in the semi-final. They went out in the other cup competition as well to Celtic on penalties in a goalless quarter-final. They're having a tough time of it at the moment. Celtic had a tough time of it for a good portion of last season as well. They had Wilfred Nancy coming in, saved though by Martin O'Neill coming back into the side as Rangers get the game back underway. Macania just having to return and retreat towards his goalkeeper away to our right hand side. 20 minutes to go before half time. Rangers looking to try and add more goals to their name. We mentioned the changes that Rangers have made throughout the summer this season. St Mirren haven't made quite as many as the linesman flag goes up against Rangers, and St Mirren tried to get the game back underway quickly. Samuel Ramos, Ryan Carr, Fieldson, Sully, Luke Thomas and Chapman all coming in. And Seo joining on loan from Rangers, which is why he's not involved in the squad today after he started the last 2 games in the league. Ishmael Carrier coming in from Arsenal. And Miguel Flecklington, the only one to leave, going to LASK. One of last season's key young players. Moved across to Austria in July. And Rangers, they do tend to get the better of St Mirren in this fixture. They won last time around by 1-0 at St Mirren in March. Two Roman scored the winner in that one. The last time they played at this ground, Rangers won by 2-1. Fernandez and Asgard with the goals. Mandron did get a late reply for the away team. Rangers have won the last two. But before that, the Saints had gone 4 games unbeaten against Rangers, but they'll need to score at least 2. Well, here's Gassama again trying to line one up from distance. This time he just didn't quite make the connection, and it just p-rolls its way through to the goalkeeper in the middle of his goal. We have met in this competition in the final before, going back 16 years now to 2010. Rangers winning 1-0 despite finishing with 9 men. Kenny Miller getting the very late winner there. But St Mirren are the holders of this cup competition. Twice they have won it, 3 times they've won the other Scottish Cup. It doesn't quite match the honours that Rangers have. 55 league titles, 34 Scottish Cup, 28 times of this competition. And European winners in 1972 as well. And they were the old Rangers, but keeping their trophy cabinet, which was lucky for Rangers. There's a lot of teams that do have to start again, don't quite get the honours of keeping the trophy cabinet that they like to have. And Rangers had to restart down in the 4th tier of Scottish football. Half an hour gone in this game. Rangers leading by 2-0. Comfortable in the scoreline, comfortable on the ball as well, looking good both on and off possession of the ball. St Mirren with the ball on this near side, taken out though from behind by Penrith is Cabby, and the referee didn't seem too much in that, which is rather surprising, as it just seemed like he just came and kicked straight through the back of him. There, Ben Rice, and St Mirren can't do anything with the ball and giving away to Rangers. In turn, they've given away as well. Skipping in through the middle, opportunity. They go towards the left, and St Mirren have one back. A superb strike from Mockery. It was a mockery from Rangers, who gave a simple ball away. Mockery pulled it back onto his left. He had Sully and acre of space on his left-hand side, and if he hadn't found the back of the net, Sully surely would have been furious, but he won't be on that occasion, as St Mirren have a goal back. And Mockery with an absolute beauty of a goal into the top right corner of Pandar's goal from the edge of the area. It may have just come off the underside of the crossbar as well, but after all the good work that Rangers have done, they've gifted a goal to St Mirren. I say gifted a goal, they gifted opportunities to St Mirren, and Mockery did the rest. And for the 13th time in a row, both teams have scored in a Rangers contest. They just cannot keep clean sheets, and the defensive frailties, the poor passing on the edge of their own area, it was unnecessary. St Mirren weren't applying much pressure, and now they will try and add a little bit of pressure as they've halved the deficit. Rangers 2, St Mirren 1, and another brilliant goal to add to the Dragicevic thunderbolt from earlier on in this game. Stenhousemuir have won after extra time against Top Flight. Motherwell, a real upset on the cards there. A side that plays in the 2nd tier, currently sitting 3rd in the table, behind both Ayr and Partick Thistle after 2 games, getting themselves a famous cup win over Motherwell, who also had a much improved season last time around. Rangers getting the advantage over on the far side, deep into St Mirren territory, but again just giving the ball away. And on that occasion it was the captain Raskin who was trying to feed it in towards the Deary. St Mirren though reply in turn and just gift the ball back to those in blue and white on the halfway line. And moving forward is McCania, brought back to him 5 yards inside the St Mirren half. 12 minutes to go before we find out how much time will be added on at the end of this first half. Here in Ibrox, and the crowd here, they haven't been making too much noise in this first half, apart from the Union Bears away to our right hand side as we look from the stands. As Rangers just try to control the game once again. Back towards Pandur on his weak left foot, goes down the left hand side, and it's a superb ball into the path of Penrith, who just turns and draws in the foul. From Cabia. But in his first opportunity, gives the ball away, and St Mirren have possession once again, halfway inside their own half, as they work it back towards the goalkeeper. Sends it long towards the left hand side. Beautiful little pass into the path of Ramos. Pull back in towards Gogic. St Mirren have their tails up a little bit since they've found a way back into this game. And trying to break in towards the Rangers half. Little ball down the left hand side. Now the space starts to open up. Reinforcements start to make their way in towards the penalty area, but a superb challenge from Sterling to stop any attack from John. And as he gets back to his feet, he puts another block in once again to stop the second opportunity to whip a ball in by Declan John, the 31-year-old Welshman, the former Rangers left back. Found himself in a world of space down the left hand side. It was just open sesame on that right hand channel. Yokota and Raskin just allowed the simple pass. And as John tried to get the first cross in, couldn't quite do that. The second attempt, superb block again. A throw in St Mirren's way, halfway inside the Rangers half on the far side of the pitch. The Rangers just finding themselves getting caught in difficult positions and giving opportunities for St Mirren to try and attack. And now there's an opportunity though for Rangers to attack down the left hand side towards Gassama, who's had an excellent first half. Switches the play towards the right hand side, and they go for goal, and a superb save again from Chapman. It was Yokota on this occasion from the far side, bringing it back onto his left, tests the goalkeeper from range. He just came off the corner of the area, he just tried to curl it round. He was heading into the bottom right hand corner of Chapman's goal, but the keeper, who's had an excellent start to the season, gets down ever so well with a big strong right hand to palm it out for a corner kick. Across comes Penrice to take the corner, and out swinging one in towards the area, sent again towards the edge of the 6 yard box, but cleared back out by Gogic, and then the follow up on the half volley from Dragojevic didn't quite make the connection he made earlier on in this game. But they do try and threaten from corners, Rangers. But Gogic seems to meet on every occasion inside the box. Dragojevic just looked to test the keeper again from distance. The Rangers want to get themselves back into the ascendancy, but a free kick goes St Mirren's way as Phillips tackled 10 yards inside the Rangers half. They get on with it quickly and go back, but sloppy again towards Fraser, and it just goes a couple of yards behind him as he asks Gogic just to come across and pick the ball up so he doesn't have to trek back and get that loose pass. No one from Rangers putting the pressure on, so St Mirren will come forward, and now the cavalry will start to come forward for Rangers to try and put some pressure on this St Mirren defence. Over on the far side is Yokota trying to win it back, but the referee sitting on his whistle at the moment, ready to blow it, and eventually he does get it as Raskin came in. He gave Rangers all the opportunity in the world not to commit a foul there, did Beaton. He stood there with his hand to his mouth. We were just waiting for any touch, really, to give the free kick. And as soon as Raskin came in, but here's St Mirren again with Sully. It'll flick the ball around the corner towards the far side of the pitch and towards Cabby. A space for him to run into. Support comes on the right-hand side. He tries to go in towards the middle, but it's a loose pass that allows Rangers to try and attack again in towards the St Mirren half. But it's won nicely by Gogic ahead of Nadiri, who again sends it across towards Sully on the far side of the pitch. He needs to be in the area more than needs to be over on the far side, but he's ever so well, and he wins his side a corner kick as well. It was great work from him. He feigned to go on towards his right. He drove towards the left, dived down towards the byline. And his cross was met, though, by Sterling. And he forces another corner to St Mirren, this time from the far side of the pitch, as Phillips will come across to take it. The rear guard make their way into the box. The likes of Fraser, Gogic and Richardson all getting into the area and trying to put some pressure on Pandora inside the 6-yard box. Phillips swings it in. That's one of the worst corners you'll see all season from Phillips, and it never looked like it was going to stay in play. The Irish midfielder, born in San Diego to Irish parents, raised in Dublin. He was Player of the Year 2 seasons ago. He has scored all 3 of the league goals this season, Phillips. But that corner left everything to be desired. 6 minutes to go before half-time in this game. A lovely tackle goes in by the St Mirren defence, pushing Richardson out towards the far side, under pressure though from Gassama. Down in towards Cabby. 5 yards off the touchline on the near side, level with the edge of his own penalty area, and then Penrice comes in, and we see it time and time again when the defender feels a touch behind, deep inside their own half. The referee is always going to give a foul. That and stutter penalties are the 2 things I would like to see leave the game. The time wasting that we saw with the keepers last season is one, as Rangers go back towards Pandura's first touch is a poor one on towards his left, and his second's not great either. He just puts it into the stand, and it's better there than anywhere else, but under pressure from Sully in his penalty area, and he just plays it out of play level with the edge of his own box, and inviting pressure from St Mirren. The throw comes in, strike then goes in as well, but it's just curling away from the goal from Ramos. He cushioned it down inside the penalty area, received the pass back from Mokri, and then in trying to find the far corner, just sliced it a little bit like my golf shot, and it just kept on curling away from where he wanted it to go. Rangers take the goal kick short. Under pressure is Macania deep inside his own territory, and he tries to get down the right-hand side, and he just goes out of play. It almost looked like he kept the ball in with his hand for a moment. Instead, he was just trying to steady himself, but he couldn't keep it in, and the short goal kicks, another thing that teams really need to start getting out of their game. Sometimes when you're under pressure against a side that's got their tails up, the momentum swinging in their favour, just get the ball forward as St Mirren win another throw in deep inside the Rangers half, as Penrice just came across and put the block in on a Cabia attempted cross. And he'll actually go out for a corner kick. In fact, I thought it went out for a throw in, but the linesman, after looking at the referee, has signalled for a corner. The big men will go in towards the 6-yard box. 6 St Mirren players gathering around Pandora in the box. 9 Rangers defenders back to try and get this game towards half-time. And after that superb first 30 minutes of the game, Rangers have found themselves under an immense pressure at the end of this half. Corner comes in towards The 6-yard box cleared out well. Yokota with space. Opportunity down the left for Gassama. He's found the pass in towards Gassama. Trying to dance in onto his right-hand side. Onto the D. Lays it off again. And then the block comes in. And it was the Deary with the final attempt. From the edge of the penalty area. Gassama, the young 22-year-old explosive wide man, found himself in space on the left once more. Tried to dance and weave his way in towards the middle. He ran out of space, he ran out of room, and laying it off towards Nadiri. His shot was blocked by the St Mirren players, who got back in numbers. 2.5 minutes before we see how much time will be added on. There may be a couple of minutes. There was a stoppage earlier on for Nadiri being down. But St Mirren won't want this half to end just yet. They sense an opportunity to find a second before the stroke of half time. Richardson has the throw in halfway on level, with the edge of the Rangers penalty area. Sends it halfway into the Rangers half. Gogic moves it across towards the left-hand side, in towards John. Sule whips the ball in, locking for Cabby, but it's cleared out nicely instead by Penrice, then followed up by McCanya. Just goes high, but not very far from the Rangers defender, and now they do sweep it towards the halfway line. Nadiri does get the header onto it, but goes out for a throw as he tries to chase down his own flick on. It's still 3-0 to Arsenal in the English Shield with 7 minutes to go. They're going to win that trophy once again. They've won it on 17 occasions, going for their 18th in what has been a glorified friendly. Sully tries to whip a ball, and it's a superb ball in that corridor of uncertainty between the keeper and the defenders. There was no one there to apply the finishing touch, but a beautifully timed ball, an inviting cross in from Sully, who's getting across that front line for St Mirren. And he was just begging to be put in by a St Mirren player racing in towards the box. And people may say I'm being cynical about Arsenal winning that trophy, calling it a glorified friendly, but it is technically classed as a friendly despite being a trophy, because it's played under friendly rules or limited subs. There are no implications in terms of any points that can be achieved or any rankings. The goals don't count as well towards stats, or any stats don't count towards the season either, whereas a lot of the other ones, which tend to be known as the Super Cups, they do count towards them. Moving down the right hand side again is Cabby, but he just tries to push it too far and invites McCanya, who does ever so well to get himself between man and ball, and then under the slightest touch goes down and just draws a bit of time for Rangers to get closer towards half time. Still 2-1 to Rangers. You're listening to an unofficial off-tube commentary. Rangers leading by 2-1 in what's been a very exciting first half. Rangers dominating the opening 30 minutes. St Mirren finding their way back through with a wonderful goal from Mockery. And with 3 minutes added on at the end of the first half, Rangers are desperate to get to half time. St Mirren trying to chase down that equaliser before the end of the first period. Their fans occupy the far corner to where we're sat. They've brought a good number of fans, St Mirren. You don't have to occupy as many seats as the likes of Rangers and Celtic in the Scottish leagues. Nobody does really. They had 6,500 in their ground against St Johnstone last week for their first league game at home this season. They should have been playing this game again in 6 days' time, but that has been postponed because Rangers play Jablonec in A playoff game for the third tier of the European competition. So instead, the next game for St Mirren being 2 weeks' time against Motherwell at home. Then they've got Kilmarnock and Celtic after that on the 5th of September on home soil. The Rangers, their season is one that is a bit tumultuous at the moment. They just can't seem to find their footing. They struggled at the start of last season with Russell Martin in charge. They won one of their opening 8 games. They only lost one of those opening 8 games in the league as well, drawing 6. The Rangers fans made sure he wasn't welcome anymore. And under Danny Roll, they started to produce the results before that end of season collapse. They've got back-to-back games against Jablonec in that final playoff game as Nadiri on the edge of the penalty area tries to appeal for a handball but waved away from the referee. 30 seconds to go then at the end of this first half. After those 2 games, they've got Aberdeen on the road and then Falkirk on the road as well for Motherwell at home and Celtic away. 4 games on the road in 5 after they have had 4 back-to-back home games with Hibs, Bielstock, St Mirren and Jablonec. And Beaton calls an end to the first half. It's been a really entertaining first half. We've seen 2 fabulous goals as well. Rangers came out of the traps flying and they had a few attempts to put the ball into the back of the net before a bit of luck fell for them as it was knocked down from Gassama, who had his first shot blocked by Chapman in the goal. He rose highest, knocked it into the path of Nadiri, and it just came off his hip and bounced past Chapman in the goal. 2-0 then came just 9 minutes later. It was a wonderful ball into the box from Penrith, played out towards the edge of the area. Jokota knocked it into the path of Dragicevic, who chested it down on the volley with a thunderbolt past Chapman's left-hand side. Gassama then tried to find an absolute worldie himself from the edge of the area, only to be denied by the underside of the bar and the ball bouncing off the goal line. And then Mockery given the ball on a play by the Rangers defence. He just danced on to his left-hand side, pulled it on to his right, and hit an absolute beauty past the flailing Pandora into the top right of the Rangers goal. Ever since then, it's been St Mirren who try to gain the momentum and the tempo for the remainder of the first half. Rangers started well, St Mirren ended better. It's all to play for in the second half in what is one of the final 2 games of the second round of the Cup competition. But at half-time, it's Rangers 2, St Mirren 1. Come back to the second half here at Ibrox. Rangers leading by 2-1 after that superb opening 30 minutes of the game. St Mirren with their tails up at the end of the first half. How's this second half going to play out for these two sides? It's the second round of the Cup, and Rangers get us back underway once again here in Ibrox, going from left to right in that blue shirt, white shorts, black socks. St Mirren in their gold shirt, black shorts and gold socks as well. But a free kick goes early on to St Mirren. At the start of the second half, Curtis has made his way on for Rangers at the half time. I couldn't quite see the number from where we are of who's come on, so I'll do a little bit of number crunching and we'll give you the confirmation of who Finlay Curtis has made his way on for, the young 19-year-old Scottish forward. He came through the academy. He's come on for Yokota, who got the assist on the Dragicevic goal. So he'll move over towards that right-hand side, the Rangers Academy attacker. He broke into the senior team last year. He came on against Jagiellonia. I won't try and say that name again. I refrained from saying it so much earlier on. They made their own joke about the name being a Wi-Fi password in the week, and just like most of my Wi-Fi passwords, I don't really remember them anyway and have to reset them time and time again. He came on in that game, created a late chance as well with an inviting across. Now he's on the ball again on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He tries to go for goal and forces a block from John. It goes out for a corner kick. Once the corner's done, I'll run you through both sets of lineups. 90 seconds into this second half. You're listening to an unofficial off-tube commentary of this second round game as Newman Penrice will come over as Rangers try to start the second half in the same fashion they started the first, controlling the ball. It's just coming up to 5:10 local time here north of the border. As it's whipped in by Penrice in towards the near post, but it's headed out ever so well by the St Mirren midfielder Phillips and out towards the halfway line. Rangers still trying to return the ball back towards the far side. Brought in nicely in towards Curtis. Tries to drive in towards the middle, but just runs into a bit of traffic and comes back to Chukwani. Opportunity to try and find a pass, but instead goes back towards Dragicevic. He hands it back towards Curtis, has an attack, son. You've got a bit of space down the middle. He decides to move it across towards the left-hand side. It's what a young man might just need to gather is a bit of confidence in himself, and Gassama's got lots of confidence, tries to put in a ball towards the box. It's applauded by Nadiri as it just goes over the top of the German's head. So the lineup at the start of this second half is is Pendot in goal for Rangers. A back four of Sterling, Penrice, Raskin and Fernandez. Chukwani and Makanya sitting just in front. Dragicevic, Gassama and Nadiri making it up as well. Gassama playing wide on the left hand side, Nadiri in the middle. Curtis seems to be occupying the right hand side. Raskin, Chukwani and Dragicevic in the middle of the park for Rangers. They've still got the quality on the bench. They've got Ross McCurry, Dan Neal, Shanklin, those two who dropped out of the side for this contest. Baron Devlin, who came across with Shanklin and McGuinness from Hearts. Miovski, Kelly, McCausland also on the bench for Rangers. For St Mirren, they're unchanged from the first half. Chapman in goal, Richardson and John, the two fullbacks. Fraser, who started the game despite being named on the bench after Donnelly seemed to be injured in the warm-up, starts at centre half alongside Gogic. Carr and Ramos sit just in front with Cabia, Phillips, Mockery, who got that excellent goal back to half the deficit, just behind Sully. He's playing that lone role up front, but he has been all over. From right to left on the pitch inside that first half. 5 minutes gone inside the second half. Nothing really of note has happened over in England. Arsenal won 3-0 against Man City. West Ham still leading at the start of the second half. It kicked up at the same time as this game against Burnley in the second tier. Stenhouse-Muir beat Motherwell earlier on by a 1-0. Hearts with an excellent 6-2 win against Cali Thistle. And the other Edinburgh side, Hibs, winning by a 0 as well in one of the earlier contests. The last of the Cup games is this one with 40 minutes left on the clock. Quarter-final place awaits for one of these two sides. Both made it to the semi-finals at least last year. St Mirren, we've mentioned already, going on to win it. Rangers can't quite win the ball back as Phillips' pass was a loose one, but it fell kindly back towards the Irishman on the near side. And he goes all the way back towards his goalkeeper, who just looks to go long, looking towards Sully, but he didn't realise Sully was on the left-hand side of the pitch, so he sends it high, long, in hope more than expectation towards the right-hand side. Rangers lead by 2-1 in this game. They really should have been 3 or 4 up inside the opening half an hour before they were punished by an excellent Mockery finish. And it's just given St Mirren a little bit of confidence in this game. Flicking it forward is Ramos towards the left-hand side, and the tackle comes in on Phillips again, and St Mirren will have the free kick. A couple of yards inside the Celtic half. Sterling just got beaten to it by Ramos. It's not often he's been beaten to the ball in this game, Sterling. Playing in that right-back role ahead of James Tavernier, who has now left the side. He's an old favourite of mine, James Tavernier. I'm a Rotherham fan of all teams, as somebody has to be. And he had a wonderful season for us in the third tier to get promoted before his move up towards Scotland, where he became the highest scoring right back in history. It's a lovely ball in towards Penrice, feeds it in towards Gassama in the middle, opportunity for 3, and it is 3 for Rangers. They just opened up the back of St Mirren, and it's tucked home by Gassama. He was excellent at the start of the first half. He deserved a goal, and he gets it there, and the Mauritanian man just tucks it past Chapman, who could just watch it go past his left-hand side. But clinical from Rangers on the counter-attack. A beautiful ball forward. It was 3-on-2 in St Mirren's favour. There might be a slight check to see if Gassama stayed onside from the Penrice ball in towards Gassama, who was left all on his own. And from the edge of the area, he just slips it past the keeper, who goes down to the ground. And Rangers restore their 2-goal lead. It's Rangers 3, St Mirren 1. And that's a lovely finish from Gassama. A confident passenger playing an even better finish. It didn't take much for him. He eyed up the keeper, he put him to the deck and just slipped it past him. And there was a check. It didn't last very long on the goal. And 8 minutes into the second half, Rangers lead once again by 2 goals. They scored inside 9 minutes of the first half. It only took 7 of the second. Those Rangers almost giving an opportunity again to St Mirren. Every time they seem to score a goal, they seem to try and offer something to St Mirren, but it's played towards Kirchhoff on this right-hand side. Space in to try and drive. Lovely little flick back. Chukwani to Gassama on his right. Continues to drive. Blocked in the middle. It's still inside the area. Falls down to Penrice, and it's 4 for Rangers. And it's 2 at the double for the Jers here at Ibrox. And it's Penrice on his debut. He joined on loan yesterday from AEK Athens. He's put up an excellent display, and he gives a big old fist pump to the Union Bears behind the goal of which Rangers are attacking. And if that first half we said they should have had a hatful, well, they've started the second with the intent to certainly have it. There may be another check again for offside here, depending on whether Nadiri was offside as he tried to sweep the ball in towards Penrice. But it was Gassama again who found the ball on the right. His shot was blocked, came down in towards the middle, It scuttled towards the right, and there was Penrice to put the final touch onto a lovely move again from Rangers. They've gone from back to front twice in the space of 2 minutes. There is going to be an offside check for that potential offside. The question is who got the last touch on it. And Penrice would love to go from provider to scorer. And I think it was Nadiri who's got the final touch going in towards Penrice. He stepped a little bit behind, but it's whether that left shoulder is just hanging offside. Penrice waits to see if he's got his moment and his first goal for the Gers. He's had spells with Hearts, his hometown club of Livingston. The check still continuing. It all depends on who got the touch firstly in towards Nadiri, and then whether Nadiri got the touch in towards Penrice. It was an almighty scuffle and inside the box. And that's where it will be decided. It has been given as a goal. It's Penrice with his first ever for the Gers. Not sure whether Nadiri's kept himself onside or whether the ball into Nadiri came off a St Mirren man last. It certainly bounced off a St Mirren man on the deck before falling in towards the German. But that doesn't matter for Rangers and for Penrice. They've given themselves plenty of breathing space now in this second half, and any confidence St Mirren had will certainly have disappeared with that second goal. Penrice has been absolutely wonderful in this game, as has Gassama. And in the space of 2 minutes, he's given himself a goal and an assist in blue, white and black. He's back with Fernandez. Another poor pass from him. He's having a really poor game at the back as the Rangers centre-half. He's played in towards the box first time, then cleared back out, but now Rangers could try and counter themselves the left-hand side. De facto captain Raskin with the ball, slipped in. He's intercepted by Phillips, who slipped on the deck. Pulled back towards the far side again, and it's almost put in this time by Curtis. Cleared off the line from St Mirren. Excellent move from Rangers, applauded by the fans behind the goal. It was Fraser who got himself back onto the goal line to stop Curtis sucking it into the back of the net. But Rangers are proving deadly in this second half. They lead by 4 goals to 1. And 13 minutes inside the second half. They could well have already seen this game to bed, and McGuinness eyeing up his first ever victory in charge of Rangers against the holders. How that would lift some immediate pressure before a huge European night at Ibrox to come in 4 days' time. It may certainly bring a few fans back through the door. Here at Ibrox, it hasn't been one to watch for a lot of fans on their radar at least, but it tends to be in this competition for quite a lot of clubs. And here come Rangers again, still trying to eye up 5. Play towards Curtis on the right, goes for goal, but just drags it wide of the right-hand post, and he's setting his sights on Chapman's goal. St Mirren have been involved in plenty of games that have had 4 goals in this competition. In fact, they've scored 4 in 3 of their 4 group games before they lost to Dunfermline. There will be a couple of changes made by St Mirren here just to change it up. Fraser Taylor, the 23-year-old midfielder who came through the academy, has been in the senior squad, I should say, for several seasons to provide a bit of homegrown midfield depth. But he's going to need a little bit more than that as he makes his way on. for the away side, who did win 4-0 against Dumbarton. They beat Cove 4-0 as well. They did have to come from 3 goals down in the second half against East Kilbride. And whilst East Kilbride aren't quite Rangers, it has shown they do have the ability to come back from 3 goals down. It took a very late goal in stoppage time of that game to complete the turnaround. In a game that had 3 penalties, but Rangers again coming from the edge of the area. Saved nicely by Chapman, pushed away towards the left. Pulled back onto the left-hand side and going for goal. Once again was Gassama, this time from the right-hand side. Nadir is appealing for a penalty. The referee waves it away and points towards the corner flag. But it was just simple football. Once again, it was Penrice eyeing up his second. Pulled back in towards pushed in towards Nadir on the left. He was fouled from behind by Gotic. I'm not too sure there's a lot in that. Just looks like the coming together of the legs more than anything, but it presented the ball to Gassama, who pulled it back on towards his left. And his strike was blocked and out for a corner kick, and Gassama is down on the deck at the moment. He's not asking for a bit of treatment. He's just going to be helped back up by his fellow players in the Rangers team, and he is now back to his feet. Penrice, who has had an absolutely stunning debut for Rangers, steps over this corner once again, puts it almost onto the head of Macania. He didn't really know too much about it under pressure from a couple of goal defenders, and it falls comfortably towards Chapman in the goal away to our right hand side. And that tough start to the season for Rangers just starting to ease up a little bit. St Mirren go back towards Chapman in his goal, and it's a horrible ball towards him, just bounced a couple of yards in front of him. Just had to get his body of some sort in the way of the ball. And he actually did quite well in the end there, Chapman, to keep the pressure, keep possession and avoid any pressure. Almost falls in towards Phillips inside the area, in a superb tackle on that occasion from Fernandez, and he wins the goal kick as well. And it's taken him 62 minutes to really get something right there, Fernandez, but he did that absolutely perfectly. The ball just fell through, came behind him, a good recovery tackle to play it off Phillips, and out for a goal kick. Phillips would have found himself in on goal. And there'll be 3 changes now made for the home side. Dragicevic comes off for Dan O'Neill. Shankland and McLaughlin also coming on. Nadiri and Gassama making their way off. So 4 changes now been made by the home side. Shankland and McLaughlin coming on. Dan O'Neill, the midfield man, coming on for the man who scored an absolute beauty inside that first half. Coming off, Dragicevic, Gassama and Nadiri, who have all been brilliant up front as well for the hosts. There'll be 2 more changes for St Mirren as well. Ramos and Cabia both coming off for Young and Taylor moments ago. Young just making his way onto the pitch for the away side. The Englishman, 25, he has some league experience south of the border. He offers a bit more mobile options across that front line. He's been brought off the bench in both of the league games so far this season. Ross McLaughlin coming on, the Northern Irish 23-year-old, another one that's come through the Rangers Academy. And he's a Northern Irish international as well. A bit more of a direct option An extensive senior experience despite still being only 23 years of age. Dan O'Neill, the summer free signing coming through Sunderland's academy, captaining in his boyhood club as well. And over on the left hand side is McClawson going for goal and almost with his first touch, adding a fifth for Rangers, but just pushing it well wide of Chapman's goal, and Lawrence Shankland doesn't need too much of an introduction. The new Rangers captain, the Scottish international boyhood supporter, joined from Hearts after working under McGuinness. He spent an earlier loan spell at St Mirren as well. He scored his first goal for Rangers from the spot on Thursday. Didn't quite give the outcome that the fans would have wanted, but here's Sully dancing toward the area. He goes down and St Mirren have a penalty and an opportunity to pull one back, gifted by Fernandez. He's had an absolute shocker of a game. There was rumours Arsenal wanted him on this display. I'm not too sure why, because he's had an absolute shocker of a game, and now he's gifted a penalty to St Mirren. He just got himself in an absolute muddle. Soleil's first touch a little bit heavy in front of him as he drove in towards the box. Fernandez thought he could get there first, stepped across his man. Soleil goes down under the pressure, and it's a stonewall penalty. And a real opportunity once again for St Mirren to try and apply some pressure with 25 minutes to go in this game. And Phillips currently has the ball in his hand. West Ham still leading by a goal to nil against Burnley in the second tier down south. There's plenty of goals in games going on around the continent as well. The top flight in Spain underway. Racing Santander and Villarreal playing out a great 2-2 in that game. But this game has been fabulous as well. It's Phillips who's going to take the penalty against the 26-year-old Croatian goalkeeper. One touch and in the back of the net from Phillips. There was no run-up from him. The referee's going to pull it back and say, take it again. The referee wasn't ready. It didn't look like anybody was ready for that one. I think he took it on his own accord. I didn't hear a whistle, that's for certain. So Phillips will be asked to take it again by Beaton. He didn't have a run-up last time around. He's going to have a one-stepper once again. Goes the other way and it's saved by Pandur. Gets down well, low to his right-hand side. I'm not sure that type of penalty is one you'll see very often. I'm very much a fan of the old-fashioned just run up and hit it. He tried to be clever with it, Phillips. He scored all three of the league goals so far, looking for another, this time in the Cup. But matched beautifully by Pandur, who keeps Rangers and their 3-goal cushion. It remains Rangers 4, St Mirren 1. And that will likely be that unless something really dramatic happens at the end of this game. On the left-hand side, for Rangers, just hugging the far touchline is Neil. Back towards Macania. And Pandur, the first man that congratulated him was Fernandez. He'll certainly feel lucky, the 24-year-old Nigerian centre-back. He scored the second goal in the 2-1 win over St Mirren last December. On this occasion, he's been trying to give them as many goals as he can on the other end. And Shankland just having a shot as well on the turn, but couldn't quite make the connection. And he goes straight in towards Chapman. Gets on with it quickly and plays it towards Young. His passing towards the middle is a poor one and intercepted by Raskin. Moves it over in towards Neil. Space opens up, the cross in towards Shankland. Can't quite get there first as it's headed out towards the left-hand side. In towards Mockery, who just about gets the ball forward off a Rangers man and out for a throw-in. to the away side. John is going to come across to try and take this one. Level with the edge of his own penalty area, but he's going to make a couple of extra yards. Now 10 yards, in fact, on the throw-in. It doesn't matter. They'll have to go back towards Chapman in their goal anyway, and St Mirren have certainly shown a lot of quality at times in this game. They've just been undone by that change of pace that Rangers have had throughout this game. They've slowed it down when they needed to, Rangers, and then when they've sped it up, particularly in this second half, they were clinical in the space of a few minutes to just knock the wind out of this St Mirren side. West Ham lead by 2-0 against Burnley, between two sides that are expected to go back up to the top flight once again. Burnley, we surely don't want to see go back up again. They're one of those sides that always ends up bottom. We want to see sides that can go up and compete, your likes of Sunderland and Leeds, who have done it previously. There's a poor challenge goes in from McLaughlin, right in the middle, and he's going to be given a yellow card as well from the referee. Beaton. His first touch just a little bit heavy, and then in trying to recover the ball, he just goes in and takes the feet of Taylor. And goes into the referee's book after coming on as a sub. But with just less than 19 minutes to play in this game, Rangers are still trying to hold on to possession for the moment. They know that St Mirren have goals in them this season. They need to score 4. They've done that on 3 occasions already, which I've probably mentioned more times than I really need to mention anymore, to be honest with you. There's a long-range effort comes from St Mirren, but it's more in hope than anything from Sully. He just took it. He didn't really have the power or direction from him, as it goes a little bit high and wide to the left-hand side of Pandor's goal. He's still seeking his first clean sheet as Ivor Pandor. But he will be delighted with that penalty save that he has made. As it's back towards Chapman in the goal away to the right-hand side. Is there anything that St Mirren can do late on in this game? Or is it really all too easy for Rangers? St Mirren have shown plenty of signs of life. Rangers have shown plenty of quality as well. In this game, it's just the 3rd penalty that Pandor has saved in his career. It's the 26th penalty he has faced. He saved 2 back in 2025 for Hull against Sheffield United and Wrexham. Kiefer Moore and Burrows were the 2 unfortunate players on the end of it. But he didn't save a penalty in the previous 4 years before that. 20 penalties he went without making a save inside normal time. I don't have the stats on if he's played in any penalty shootouts. Apologies for that. I probably should have done that before the game, but here come Rangers again, pushing it down the left-hand side is Chukwani. Flick back in towards the area for Shankland, off the post, back out and tucked away. And it's Rangers who have a 5th. The looks go across towards the linesman on the near side from McLaughlin, but it's found the back of the net. Shankland had the back heel. And Rangers have a 5th, and it is game, set and match. It was good work from Chukwani to open up the space of Penrith on the left-hand side. A delicate ball back in towards the box, towards Shankland. He tried to back heel it into the net. It came off the post and then went straight across the goal line towards McLaughlin, who looks like he's just about stayed onside. The keeper and the defender were both on the same line as him, and he's just hammered it home from a yard out. And there's nothing that St Mirren could have done then. John and Chapman both tried to appeal towards the linesman on the near side. They were the last rear guard For the third time in the game, we're going to have another VAR check for a possible offside. The other two were given as a goal. We'll have another look here on the replay. He looks to be onside for me. When Shankland's back here, it's come back off the post. It's lazy defending from St Mirren. It's what you'd expect when you're down. Sully comes off. Well, it's being checked for Thomas. As St Mirren make another change. Luke Thomas, the 27-year-old English midfielder. And the goal will stand. Rangers leading by 5 goals to 1. An opportunity straight away up the other end for St Mirren, and it's off the post again. From end to end in this game. St Mirren, every time Rangers score, St Mirren just try and get at the Gers defence, and they've almost found a goal every single time. This occasion on the far right hand side, it was excellent work down the right hand channel from Taylor, pulled back in towards Luke Thomas, and his first touch of the ball was to rasp it off the outside of the bottom right of the post of Pandor's goal. And what an exciting game this has been. The St Mirren fans starting to leave from that far corner. Fair play to them, they've stayed. I don't even think that their side have played too badly in this game, St Mirren. Rangers have simply just been more clinical when it mattered. The first 30 minutes was getting away from the Saints. They found a way back into the game. And then since then, it has felt a little bit of a struggle for them. But they've still had some opportunities. The penalty, they've hit the post. They had other opportunities in the first half as well. With 18 shots that Rangers have had in the 77 minutes we played so far to the 5 of St Mirren. They've had 57% possession to 43. 3 more corners as well have the Gers. You would expect that to happen in a game like this. But Rangers needed a win. And not only have they got a win, but they've got a resounding, thumping win as well. It's one they've been desperate for some time to have. And they're trying to add more onto it as well, with Curtis on the right-hand side, driving goal, pulls it back across towards Shankland, gets his feet in a mess. And that really should have been 6. His delightful back heel moments ago created an opportunity. Curtis this time on the right-hand side, pulling it back across the centre of the box. And Shankland should have made it 6. He was a little bit lazy from him. His side have already won the game. He took his eye off the ball for a moment. And it just wasn't to be for the new man. He really should have found the back of the net. But here come Rangers once again down the middle with Curtis. Pushed across towards the left-hand side. Oh, they're still trying to add more. Shankland will certainly want to add one himself. Plays it in towards McLaughlin. But he is offside. And the linesman duly puts his flag up against the 23-year-old Northern Irishman. As Rangers continue to apply the pressure. The long ball goes forward from St Mirren. They look like they've run out of steam, and you can't really blame them. As I say, I don't think the scoreline reflects how St Mirren have performed at times. It's just shown the quality that Rangers have had. Here comes Curtis in towards the middle, but just too far in front of Shanklin, and allows Chapman to come across. I feel like every time I say that St Mirren haven't been that bad in this game, Rangers then have another opportunity to try and put a bit of pressure on the St Mirren goal. It's the biggest lead since Rangers put 8 past Queen's Park in February. The last 5-1 lead against a top flight team was against Kilmarnock 4 days before that Queen's Park result, where they beat Kilmarnock by 5 goals to 1. But it wasn't as frequent last season as it has been over the years. Well, the 54-time league champions, 28-time cup champions in this competition, searching for another. They're going to knock out the holders, whose moment at Hampden last season will still forever live in their memory. But they couldn't quite get one over Rangers today like they got one over Celtic on that occasion. Richardson over on the far side. St Mirren still trying to find a way back in late on. Or even just find a consolation, I should say, late on. I don't think they'll find a way back in with 9 minutes to go, unless it is the most dramatic ending we have ever seen. John picks up the loose ball. It's a block shot, just finds its way and swerves towards the left-hand side. Comes back towards the halfway line once again, in towards Gotic. And Rangers, rightly so, just not trying to exert too much more energy. They're searching to try and get 6 goals for the first time since they beat Falkirk 6-3 on the 12th of April. They enjoyed playing Falkirk towards the end of last season. 11 goals in the 2 games that they played in April and May. But St Mirren trying to find a second themselves with a wonderful tackle. Goes in by Dan Neil on the edge of the box, and now Celtic with Chukwani will try and make a bit of headway forward, but the tackle goes in. And it's a rather late one. Mockery down on the ground. But he will be adjudged to have committed the foul before anything else. And I think it should well be a free kick to St Mirren there, looking at the replay. Chukwani stepping on the foot as Mockery, who came in with a slide tackle and actually got there ahead of his man to the ball, as Rangers make a final change with Sterling coming off and oncoming Ross Mercury, a 28-year-old, another one from the Rangers Academy. He returned from Bristol City this summer. He can play right back, centre back or midfield, the versatile man. Was introduced at half time on Thursday. Now gets a few minutes at the end of this contest as well. St Mirren line up there. Final 2 changes. Remember, substitutes have to happen. 5 changes you can make, but they have to happen in 3 windows. And Mercury, who scored that wonderful goal for St Mirren in the first half, is just hobbling off. He's still feeling that right foot, which Chukwani did come across and step on. I don't think he had any intent whatsoever, but he is feeling the brunt of that one. Here's Chris Mockery, the Dundee United Academy man as well, played for Airdrie. As they make their final changes, Harry Fieldson is one, the 21-year-old Englishman signed from Queen's Park in July after 61 appearances for the Spiders, and Douglas is the other one, the young 17-year-old Scotsman. Academy striker was born in July 2009, if you want to feel old. I certainly do. I still don't class anyone born after the year 2000 to be an adult. That's just Me being born in 1992 and just being cynical. Age hits you quite quickly. But it's the youngster who's making his way on. He made senior appearances last season. He's already scored in his first team goal. He was prolific at youth level. As we're getting on, my voice is disappearing, and he's also played in the Scottish youth side as well. And with 5 minutes to play, comes on to try and add a bit of liveliness at the end of this contest. And with 3 minutes to go in the game between Burnley and West Ham, Burnley have found a way back in. A Zach Fleming penalty there. Solomon doubled West Ham's advantage. But with 7 minutes to play, there's 3 minutes to go. Burnley have found a way back in as St Mirren just played the ball forward, and it's straight through towards Pandur. In the goal away to our left-hand side. It's going to be Rangers' day. One that they will enjoy. McGuinness will certainly be having a libation or two tonight. Phillips was the man that came off moments ago for Fieldson. And I believe it was Mockery who made his way off for Luke Douglas. Raskin just gets a little bit of a shove in the back and gets the free kick from the young man that had just made his way onto the pitch as Fernandez has hold of the ball. Confidently back towards his goalkeeper. 3.5 minutes then to go before any time to be added on. I can't see there being much if the referee beaten has got any sort of sense about him. He won't want the punishment to continue for St Mirren, but they have an opportunity late on to find another goal, and it's straight at the goalkeeper from Young. There was space on the left-hand side. Thomas was waiting for the pass to come through. It's been an excellent game. Penrice has probably been man of the match on his debut for Rangers. Gassama's been superb as well. Mockery should be commended for his goal inside the first half, as well as Dragojevic. But it's been a game, if you're a neutral, it's been a wonderful game to watch. Both sides just going for it, trying to find some goals. St Mirren will focus and turn their attention to the league coming up. Rangers turn their attention to Europe. And Chukwani, can he add a sixth here? Takes a deflection and out for a corner kick. An excellent tackle from Marcus Fraser to get across. And to say he wasn't in the starting lineup, he has had an excellent game at centre half, despite seeing his side concede 5 goals. And he's put in some wonderful challenges to stop it being more. They've got Motherwell at home before Kilmarnock away, before they entertain the league champions Celtic. That's where their mind will go. They've got 2 weeks off after this game to recover, to start again, and to continue their excellent start to the league campaign. 2 wins from 2 in the league for St Mirren. Rangers, they just want their season to just start to motor on, and they'll try and use this as the catalyst to be the engine for them to just kick on now. They are against the Czech side, who have had a good start to their season as well. Who've won all 3 of their league games this season. Jablonec, they sit joint top alongside Slavia Prague. They beat an RFS in one of the playoff games, and they also beat Varazin in the qualification game, the Croatian side. And RFS, who they beat 4-1 in the last qualification game from Latvia, which will give them some confidence to come here and beat Rangers again. They'll need the fans behind them, they'll need the numbers to turn up, as Penrice puts a corner kick in towards the box, but it's cleared out for a throw which Curtis will come across to take. 30 seconds left to play of normal time. Rangers with the ball again, just played back out of play, just getting in on this near side. Was Carr, who just got there ahead of the substitute. Dan Neil, long throw played in. Dan Neil can't quite get there inside the box. Headed back though in towards the area by McCrory. Falls down towards Raskin, who tries to move it across towards the left-hand side, and the referee won't add any time on. He says that is that. It's Rangers Day. They go through to the quarter-final. A convincing win against a side who certainly didn't put up a bad fight whatsoever. It was an entertaining first half that saw some cracking goals. Rangers came out of the traps flying and could have found the back of the net before they were given a bit of luck. There was nothing lucky about the build-up play as Gassama was set free down the left, darting in towards the box, but was met brilliantly by Chapman in goal. But he rose highest on the follow-up, and his header down bounced off the hip of Nadiri to open Rangers' account. A second came 9 minutes later from a Penrise corner that was cleared out towards the edge of the box. Jokic cushioning it in towards Dragicevic, whose chest and volley from 25 yards was an absolute beauty from the big summer signing. Rangers then continued to dominate, and Gassama also set his sights from distance, but despite beating Chapman, couldn't beat the bar or the goal line as it bounced down and away. St Mirren didn't look like they were at the race inside that opening half an hour, but Rangers handed them an opportunity after a poor passing play on the edge of their own box, handed the ball to Mockery. He pulled it on to his left-hand side, even though he had numbers, and took it and hit an absolute bullet past Pandur to half the deficit. That woke up St Mirren, who were the better side at the end of the first half, but went in 2-1 down to the host. The start of the second half started better for Rangers than the first half did. Gassama with an excellent finish after a good counter-attacking move from a St Mirren set piece. A lovely ball through towards Penrice on the left-hand side. He put it on a dime for Gassama into his path. And then a lovely finish past Chapman down towards his left-hand side to give Rangers that 2-goal advantage. 2-goal advantage turned to 3 as Penrice went from provider to scorer, tucking in at the near post after a bit of a scramble. It took some time for VAR to clear it up of who got the last touch after Gassama's good work found its way forward in towards Nadiri, who flicked it into the path of Penrice, who just took it in to the net. A penalty then went St Mirren's way after Fernandez fouled Sully. Fernandez, the only one that really struggled today for Rangers, but his blushes were saved after an excellent save from Pandur down to his right-hand side after Phillips tried a one-step penalty, which had to be retaken at a second attempt. The fifth goal came for Rangers shortly after. McLaughlin, who got himself on the end of a cross from Penrice with a cross from the left-hand side in towards Shanklin, who backheeled it off the post. McLaughlin just about kept himself onside from a yard out and hammered it in to the back of the net. Straight after the kick-off, though, St Mirren hit the post through Thomas, getting his first touch. St Mirren certainly put up a good enough show, but Rangers ran away with it and deserved a comfortable win in the end. It's finished here at Ibrox. Rangers 5, St Mirren 1. Rangers beat the champions and go through to the quarter-finals. Good night.